I know. I'm sorry.
All right, we're gonna introduce everybody and then fire away.
Hi, Steve. How's it going? I'm Brendan. I'm a management major here at Bentley University. My question for you tonight is, can you share a pivotal moment in your career that significantly shaped your approach to sales or leadership?
Ooh, you know what? I'm glad you said that. I think sometimes, God, it's funny that you asked that because I was actually thinking about this not too long ago. I had fallen in love with my wife, who was my girlfriend, and I was very angry that I had fallen in love with her because I was having a lot of fun without her. And I went on stage and I started to complain about the fact that, she was changing my life. And then everybody started to laugh and gravitate towards it. But at that time, it was very angry and it was coming off as annoyance. So that started to help me build my brand. And then when I became comfortable in who I was and comfortable in the fact that I did love her and I did want to be with her, my stand up came out more genuine and more honest and more real. And that was the pivotal moment when I went from just a funny guy to actually having a brand. Now, the crazy part is my brand is imitating and making fun of my wife, if you will. And I thought, oh my gosh, all these guys and all these husbands are going to come to my show and they're going to buy tickets because they want to show their wife what I do. And it wasn't until I dove into my analytics on my Facebook and Instagram that I realized that 70% of my fans were female. It was actually the exact opposite. So that was kind of the pivotal moment for me that I started to realize what I was selling. So I started to lean in that direction. And once I did that, here we are many, many years later, 4 million, 4 million social media followers and over 300 million views on my videos. And all because I started to really get dialed into what I was actually selling in my brand. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much.
Hey, Steve. My name's Alex Trafton. I'm a junior studying marketing. So obviously you're in front of a live crowd all the time. What is the biggest failure that you've had in front of a live crowd, and how did you react in front of them?
The biggest failure is letting them know that I'm failing. If they can feel that I'm failing, if they know that I'm failing, I quickly realized that even if I was failing, if I didn't let them know I was failing, then I would win. Because generally speaking, a couple of things, right? Number one, public speaking is the number one fear after death. So everybody is afraid to speak in public, number one. Number two, if generally human beings are very compassionate to other human beings. So when they watch somebody go on stage and do their biggest fear, and then they watch that person fail, and then that person lets them know that it's bothering them, then they just feel for you. It's not that they're upset with you. It's not that they're trying to boo you. It's that they are feeling that you are feeling that you're failing. So if when it comes to sales, because I'm selling jokes, I'm selling a personality, I'm selling a brand. If I walk on stage with the utmost confidence, and forgive me for saying this, and you might have to go back and look it up on YouTube. Bernie Mac was a perfect example. People don't know this, but he went on stage at Def Comedy Jam, and the night that he went on stage, everybody had gotten booed off. The audience had booed every single comedian. And then Bernie Mac walks on stage and he goes, "I ain't afraid of you." And then he popped off a joke and he would say, "I ain't afraid of you." And he'd pop off a joke. And then he'd say, "Look, I'm letting you know I ain't afraid of you." And then he had the best set of the night because he let them know, you are not beating me, and you are not going to intimidate me, and you are not going to get me to feel a certain way. So confidence. Do not let the audience know And the audience could be anybody, right? It could be the girl you're trying to talk to at the bar, or the girl you're trying to talk to at lunch or in school. It could be the job interview. You walk into that job interview with the utmost confidence, and no matter what you say, you believe it and you deliver it and you don't show fear, you're going to win every single time.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Hey, Steve. My name is Steven Ingram. I'm a management major here at Bentley. I just want to say thanks for joining us tonight. My question was, what's the biggest lesson you learned about how to connect with people, whether it's comedy or just kind of in life?
A couple things. Eye contact, being genuinely interested. I find that I'm able to connect with people because I am a people. I generally find people interesting. I generally care about people. My friends laugh because I'm so interested in my Uber driver. You know, we'll get in an Uber and I want to know everything about them. And when you actually care to connect with somebody else, it opens them up. It lets them, you know, I think a lot of times we make the mistake of thinking that the way we connect is by talking and talking and talking and talking, when in actuality, it's asking a question, right? Like, for you, where are you from?
Yeah, Andover.
What? Where?
Andover, Massachusetts.
Yeah, married parents, both divorced parents.
Married.
Married, yeah. For how long?
I think it's like 34 years.
Yeah, brother and sister.
I have two older sisters.
Oh, too old. So you're the baby. See, so now me and you are engaging, but it's all because I'm asking you questions.
Right.
And the more questions I ask you, the more you go, hey, this guy really cares about me. So I think engaging and really caring about other people and genuinely wanting to know about them is the best way to engage and to make eye contact and to be confident and to, you know, it's a lost art, but a handshake, you know, and when you shake that hand and you say your first and last name and you look at somebody in the eye, that sets the tone on a whole nother level. I mean, you know, you guys are all in your late teens, early 20s. I can't tell you how many of your generations trying to do stand up, they come to my show and they want to get on stage, but they don't look at me in the eye or they don't shake my hand. And for me, and maybe it's my generation, a strong handshake and a first and last name and eye contact, boom, you got me. I'm in. I'm engaged. I want to know more about you. So it's those little things, body language, you know, caring about an individual, and you will be very successful.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. I'm Jared Haas. I'm a business management major here at Bentley. My question for you is, when you were 19, getting started at open mics in Dallas and around the area, how did you handle hecklers and stay focused?
That's a good one. I'm generally a aggressive person, so it's very rare that I dealt with hecklers because I'm such a big personality and I'm so aggressive that I didn't have to deal with it as much as my counterparts or my friends. However, I did have a few moments, and I still do, where I do have a heckler, and I normally handle them very politely, and I tell them, hey, you know I don't talk to the crowd, you know, let me do my thing if you don't mind, thank you. And then if they continue, I go, hey, listen, man, I'm really trying to do my show and you're not allowing me to. And then if they continue, I go, come on, man, there's people around you that want to watch the show, and you continue. And what happens with that is I get the entire audience on my team. The entire audience goes, oh yeah, I'm with Steve, let him do his show. Hey, Steve has been nice, Steve has been polite. So I use the mob mentality where I go, I'm going to get the entire mob on my team against this one person. And the other angle is, you know, to say something to them and engage with them. But when you engage, you risk losing the audience. You risk saying something that's too aggressive where the audience goes, hey, man, like that was a little too far. So I always approach let me get the whole crowd on my team to get this person to understand that, hey, it's you against all of us. And if you continue, you're really pissing everybody off. So that's kind of how I handle it. And then I have this probably has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I do have a safe word. And my manager tells the security and all the police officers, they say, if Steve says, I don't want to have to ask you to leave, that is my code for kick them out. So what happens is I walk on stage, they heckle, I'm nice, they heckle, I'm nice. And then I go, hey man, I really don't want to have to ask you to leave. Security comes, they start escorting them out, and I go, see what you did? Look, man, I can't help you now. They're kicking you out. I didn't ask you to get kicked out. They're kicking you out. So I do that as well. So there's a little secret. Pauly Shore's is spatula. Pauly Shore says spatula, and he'll rub his neck, and that means kick somebody out. But spatula's too weird for me.
Thank you for the insight.
Hi, Steve. I'm Montel. I like the shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
What is your motivation and why do you do what you do?
Ooh, that's a deep question, and I will share with you all of it. A lot of stand-ups, it's because of insecurities. I do what I do because it was a defense mechanism as a kid. I always was changing schools. I went through a very, very tough divorce as a child. I had alcoholic, abusive grandfather. So for me, it was from insecurity. It was a way, an outlet, if you will, to make people laugh. But I'm also a very giving person. When you come to my house, I'm making you drinks and I'm serving you food, and I'm a server by nature. I like to serve people, and making people laugh and making people forget whatever they're going through. Laughter for me was helping me forget the tough divorce and my abusive alcoholic grandfather. So I don't know what my audience members are going through, but my motivation is, can I make them laugh tonight? Can I make them forget about what they were dealing with yesterday? And for me now, as a married man and doing married humor, I'm hoping that, because I have had couples come up to me and say, you saved our marriage. You made me realize that marriage is all the same, and that what you're going through is what I'm going through. And the difference between me and you, Steve, is that you laugh about it and I don't. You gave me a sense of humor about it. So I've had people come to me and say, you got me through cancer. I was dealing with chemo and I had cancer, and putting you on every single night would cheer me up and get me through the painful moments. So, in the beginning, it was, an outlet, a way out for me. And now it's a way to give other people an outlet. And I take pride in that. And because of my celebrity and my fame, I'm able to raise money for veterans. My grandfather was a World War II veteran who dealt with extreme PTSD. So it wasn't my fault that he was the man that he was, but I raised money for veterans and hope that I can help that little kid that, maybe his grandfather is a veteran and dealing with PTSD. And I've raised $4 million over the 10 years by doing stand-up. So the motivation has changed over the years, but right now it's, can I give somebody an escape and can I raise money for veterans?
All right. Thank you.
My name's Robert Avola. I'm a senior here at Bentley studying management. I was wondering, do you change your sets at all depending on any city or region that you're performing in? And then
No.
So, nothing?
Nothing. And I tell you why. I came up at a time when George Lopez was kind of becoming a big deal. And I would hear George Lopez say all the time, us Mexicans were different. We're different people. And I didn't like that. I would say, I don't think we're different. I think human beings are generally the same. And when I started doing my act, I made it so that everywhere I go, it's the same act, whether I'm in Boston, New York, South Texas, New Mexico, Los Angeles, wherever I'm at, it's the same show and the same. And here's what's crazy. we are the same because I can literally tell you in my head, here comes the laugh. I'm going to say this, they're going to laugh. I'm going to say this, they're going to groan. I'm going to say this, they're going to laugh really hard. Not only is everybody the same and my act is the same, it is absolutely crazy that our human brain, the laughter is the same, the length of the laughter is the same, the O's and the oohs, and when they get quiet, I can literally, like a song, do my set, and I can tell you, here's the big laugh, here's the ooh, here's the round of applause, here's the, I mean, it is so crazy. And I think that as human beings, sometimes we think, oh my gosh, we're so different. We're not, you know, and I hate the political climate that we're in, because if we took time to sit down with our neighbor and have a real conversation, I think that we would find out that we are more alike than we are different. And that's a really good question, because I get that all the time where people go, oh, you must Mexican it up when you're in the Southwest region. And I'm like, no. As a matter of fact, speaking of Boston, I'll tell you a great story. They refused to book me in Boston at Laughs. And I kept telling my agent, I'm looking at my stats. I have fans in Boston. And they would continue to tell me, Steve, there's no Mexicans in Boston. Steve, you're Mexican American. They don't get you in Boston. So let me tell you what I did. And this is great for this class. I called up Laughs and I said, how much to rent the room? You won't book me. How much to rent the room? And the owner of the club says, well, if you want to rent my room, it costs this much a night. I said, okay. I said, just to be clear, a night. Doesn't matter how many shows I do. It is this much a night. Is that correct? He says, yes. I said, great. I will rent your room Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. He said, no problem. That first time I came to Boston, I sold 10 shows out. 10. So you do how many shows I did in a day. Immediately after my show on Sunday, he writes me the check that he could not believe he wrote me, because I took him for a ride because he rented the room. And he goes, hey, man, I want to book you in 18 months. And here's the deal. And I go, no. I already know what the deal is. You will rent me the room and I will come back and I will do as many shows as I want. So I took a risk, but it was an educated risk. And I knew that just because I'm Mexican American doesn't mean that I don't connect to people in Boston, that I don't relate to people in Boston. But I took it a step further and said, I'm not going to walk away and go, oh, well, I guess I'll never play Boston. I took it upon myself to call the club, work out a deal myself. My agents and managers told me I was crazy. They go, you're going to lose all that money, Steve. And I go, watch me. 10 shows. They charged me $1,500 a night. Okay. That place seats 320 people. And I got 100% of the door at $35 a ticket. Do the math. Times 10 shows.
A lot of money. Awesome.
When normally, had they booked me for the first time, I would have been on a 60-40 split with them. So how much money did they lose because they didn't book me?
Yeah.
Right? But there's always a way. There is no no's. There is a no that just leads you to the yes. That's it. There's got to be a way. Think outside the box. Make a move. Go the other direction. Change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and over and expecting different results. Right? You're selling something. They said no. Try something else. They said no. Try something else. They said no. Try something else. Or quit. Your choice. Good
Awesome.
question.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Steve. My name is Joelle Selecki. I'm a senior computer information systems major. And my question is, when promoting yourself as a comedian, what techniques or approaches have you found most effective in building your brand and attractive new audiences?
Oh, funny you should say that. It's going back to an answer I gave earlier, really understanding what my brand was, and really understanding what I was selling. I started to find out very quickly that if I shared things that were very macho or by myself, for example, if I showed myself fishing, I wouldn't get many likes or there wouldn't be many follows. But I started to notice that any post that I was engaging my wife would go viral. You know, anytime me and my wife were having an argument, you know, coincidentally, I wanted a margarita machine for the summer. And I went and bought this margarita machine that was literally the size of that TV back there. And my road manager and I are walking in with this margarita machine, and my wife just goes, "Oh my God, that's not going in this house." And I'm like, "Oh no, it's going in this house." And we happened to record it, and that got millions of hits. And you start to really zero in on specific, right? I will tell you that in order for me to be a millionaire, I don't need 385 million people to like me. That's how many people are in the United States, I think. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but let's just use that number. 385 million people in America or the world. I don't need all of them to like me in order for me to be a millionaire and successful. All I need is 0.01%. So instead of trying to have a broad audience and try to sell to everybody, I am just the married guy talking about my wife so that everybody that gets married goes, "Oh my God, you got to go see that guy." And then I'm going after the married couples. And I mean, no offense to anybody in the room. My demographic is the female who is married and 35 years old, right? So that's how specific I get when I do my marketing and when I grow things is I know exactly who I'm talking to and I know exactly who's going to engage. I don't need to chase after. Now, the cool part is I find people like you guys and your age that do come to my show and find me very, very entertaining and funny, but they're relating on a different level, right? Where they're going, "Oh my God, you're like my parents. Oh my God, you talk about your wife like my dad talks about my mom," right? But then later on, guess what? All of you are going to become my audience at some point, right? So I'm just waiting for you to come into my zone. And then once you come into my zone, my goal is to go out there and continue to market to you. So it is being very specific. You know, if you're going to sell widgets, sell a black widget or a white widget or, you know, very specific. And that's also the world we live in, right? I mean, we used to go to the mall and walk around the mall because we wanted to see every store. We don't have time for that, right? If I want a TV, I know I'm going to Best Buy. They only have TVs, right? So it's specific. So yeah, it's just marketing to the right people and knowing who to market to.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Why were the girls last? This is BS.
We got 30 more people.
Oh, they're in the middle.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve. My name is Amanda Davis. I'm a senior marketing major. And the question I have for you is like in your industry, I know there's like a lot of late nights and travelings and like, what do you do to push through those stages of burnout when you think you're too tired to keep going?
Oh gosh, you know, that's, you know, in the beginning, I was driven by success. I was driven by trying to make it. And, you know, I took a very blue collar philosophy that I was going to outwork everybody. So there was no burnout for me when I was young. I had this drive and this fire inside me that would not allow me to ever get burnt out. And, you know, now my motivation is my kids, my wife, raising money for veterans. You know, when I flew home from Chicago after throwing the first pitch at the White Sox game, after doing a show in Chicago, and I fly home and meet my family at the Dallas Cowboy game, and my son is on the field shaking everybody's hand, and my family's in a suite, and we get to enjoy the suite. It didn't matter that I didn't sleep literally at all, but the enjoying the fruits of my labor keep me fired up. Not only that, I did not come from a wealthy family. I would never say that we were poor, but my third niece is starting Texas A&M this year, and she is the third niece that I will pay for to go to college. So my motivation is also the fact that not only am I changing my life and my immediate family's life, I'm changing my niece's life. That's the motivation, and it's not about the money. It's about what does that money provide that can change my family's life. Experiences, to be able to buy 24 cruises for my immediate family, so all of us could go on a cruise this summer and make memories. That's what keeps me fired up.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Steve. I'm Ava Giacoba, and I'm a sales and finance major here at Bentley. What do you do like right before you go out in front of like thousands of people? Like, is there anything you do like breathing exercises? I don't know if it's like a mindset thing. Like, because like I'm even nervous right now. I was like,
I could tell.
I was like, oh my God.
You got nervous hands. You got nervous hands. You don't know where to put them. I don't get nervous. There is no routine. I don't write anything down. I've never recorded my sets. I could be having a conversation with you right now, hear them call my name, and walk on stage. I would say that it's just a God-given talent that was given to me. I'm not afraid. I don't get stage fright. I just belong there, and I've done it so much. You got to realize I have been on the road every single weekend since I was 19 years old. I am now 46. So you do the math on how many shows I've done, not to mention when I would get home off the road living in LA, I was doing 10 shows a week and then going on the road. So I was averaging anywhere between 10 and 15 shows a week. And that has been going on for the past 25 years. So it becomes routine. It becomes my job. I mean, would you ask a nurse if she gets nervous to put in a catheter or to put in I'm losing my, what is it where they put it in your hand to an IV, right? In the beginning, I'm sure they were, but you do something over and over and over and over again, it just becomes second nature and habit. And when it comes to sales and your career, it is having the mindset of, I know I'm going to get better at this. I know that if I keep doing it, I'm eventually gonna win, and it's gonna become easy. So for me, nothing really bothers me, but I will say that walking on stage over and over and over again, it just makes it routine.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Jade Mastrangelo. I'm a junior and I'm studying sales and finance. And I was just wondering, what have you learned from your losses in order to better yourself and escalate your career?
Whoa, I'm a very wise man, and I tell you why, because I'm not afraid to try. And what I mean by that is I have failed over and over and over and over again, but I am very tenacious and I have grit. And when you have grit and tenacity, and you're not afraid to make mistakes, gosh, you just learn so much. And then you learn to be bulletproof because no's don't bother you, and not, people are so afraid to fail. People are so afraid to ask a question because their ego won't allow them to, I am now, I do real estate. I have 11 homes, and one of my best friends is a mortgage broker. I wore him out with questions. I kept going, how do you do this? How do you do that? And then I would buy a house, and then, oh my gosh, I spent too much money on the living room. Oh man, what did I do wrong? Oh, I'm supposed to spend my money remodeling in the kitchen and the restrooms. Oh man, I spent 25% on the lawn and the landscaping when I was only supposed to spend 7%. So I failed and failed and failed. And as I was failing, I kept learning and learning and learning and learning. And there's been a million of those. I can't even begin to tell you how many failures I've had in life in general. I've had way more failures than I've had successes, but because of my failure, I can sit down with you and I'll be honest with you, I barely graduated high school. I am diagnosed dyslexic, but I can sit down with you and tell you how a SEP IRA works, and I can tell you how a brokerage account works, and I can tell you how the real estate market works. I can tell you how a CD works. I can tell you what a 401k does and how it works. Why? Because I have failed and failed and failed, and I've asked questions and asked questions and continue to educate myself through failure. So my biggest advice to everybody in that classroom is, my God, go fail. Go fail again and again and again. The only difference is, are you going to fail and learn something from it? Or are you going to fail and make the same mistake? It's failing, learning from your mistake, and continuing. And that's what stand-up is. Every day I go up there and go, I think this is going to be funny. And then I walk on stage and I fail. And then I go, okay, I still think it's funny, but maybe I'm telling the joke wrong. Or maybe it's mean-spirited. Or maybe I'm too winded. What do I need to change? And then I change it, I adjust, and I change it. But I keep failing through it until I find the success in the joke, or I move on. But I still learn something from it. So, gosh, in my career, my biggest failure was continuing to wait for the industry to give me something. You know, all of my friends were getting TV show deals, and they were getting on movies, and they were getting development deals, and they were getting specials from networks. And I kept going, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And it never came. So on my path there, I learned how to produce. I learned how to direct. I learned how to promote my own shows. So me and my wife have literally produced, directed, and paid for the last 4 specials. So we took it into our own hands, but I had to fail over and over and over again to learn that I had to do it myself. So all of you, go fail. You're in your 20s. Go fail, go fail, go fail. You need ramen noodles and a bottle of water to survive. You're fine. Go fail.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi, Steve. I'm Sam, and I'm a marketing major here at Bentley. And I was wondering if you ever find yourself setting aside your own beliefs and opinions, and if so, how do you do it?
Well, ask that question again, please.
Do you ever find yourself setting aside your own beliefs or opinions, and if so, how do you do it?
Are you asking if I ever set aside my morals?
Like, yeah,
No. I have never done anything in my life against my morals. I have never done anything that I am not comfortable with. When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes. But I always stick to my morals. I was raised with a lot of morals. And I found that I can sleep at night. I get very frustrated as a Mexican American the way we are portrayed on TV and movies. We were always the gang member, the gardener, the maid, the nanny, the drug dealer. We are never put in positive light. And from a very early age, when I got my agent and manager, I said, guys, I'm not playing a stereotype. It's not going to happen. I will not represent my people like that. You know, my father was a Vietnam vet, a war hero. My mother is a hardworking nurse. We come from hardworking people. I don't have an accent, so I will not put one on for a TV show. And did I hear a lot of negativity, and did the industry kind of say, well, if he's not going to play the game, then we'll move on from Steve Trevino? And they did, but I still succeeded. And I continued to move forward the way that I would like to represent my people. I mean, that's just one example of sticking to my morals and to what I believe, because how can I look at my children and say, hey, being a Mexican American in this country is something very strong, and we're hardworking people and we take care of ourselves, if I'm playing the stereotype. And I always think about it like that now that I have kids. You know, when I'm dead and gone, are my kids going to be proud of what I did and what I accomplished? And I will do that first than anything else. And you will find in business that, and it's funny because my dad said, he goes, you know, my dad goes, I raised you morally strong. And he goes, sometimes I think that maybe I shouldn't have done that. And I said, why, Dad? He goes, because it makes life harder. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, he goes, sometimes, you know, you got to make moves, you know. And he's like, I never did that. And I said, well, I'm going to be like you. I'd rather not play the game or make moves. I'd rather stick to my morals. And it's harder. I will say it's harder, but it's more worth it at the end of the day. And at the same time, you also have to find that people around you and where you work might not be morally strong, but you, as long as you are and you know what you're doing, you can continue to move forward. But as long as it's on you, right? Because we do live in a very shady world, in the business world. I mean, the backstabbing and the lies and the BS and the, you know, the cutting corners and the, well, it's a little lie. Well, I don't believe in that. And I'll give everybody in this room that's listening right now a great piece of advice. When somebody tells you it's not personal, it's business, prepare to get screwed. Prepare to get screwed. I live my life the other way. It is business. I mean, it is personal. And if it is personal, then I have to do right by you in business. So that's how I do it. But if somebody tells you, hey, man, it's not personal, it's just business, prepare to be screwed. So I hope that helps answer your question.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. I'm a management major. My name is Gia Tora. I'm a senior here at Bentley, and my question is, how do you find the importance in building trust through the relatability of your content?
It's for me, it's number one. For me, they have to trust me. They have to believe me. I'll tell you guys a great story when it comes to this. This was the turning moment for me. I have a cousin who is my age. Actually, he's older, but he has a brother who is 16 years younger than him. He went to his dad one day and he said, Dad, why do I have a brother 16 years younger than me? And his dad goes, remember that night you were supposed to spend the night at your friend's? He goes, yeah. And he goes, but you didn't spend the night at your friend's. You came home? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, I was having sex with your mom and you scared me. And that's why you have a brother 16 years younger than you, right? So I thought that story was hilarious. I walked on stage. I told the story, big laughs. But afterwards, people came up to me and they go, oh, that's cool, man. You have a brother? And I felt like a fraud. I felt like I lied to these people and they couldn't trust me. So that was the turning point for me where I said, I will never make things up. I will over exaggerate, right? And I will joke, but it'll all be within the world and the truth, because if an audience doesn't trust you or you betray an audience, they'll never trust you. They'll never, it's the silly story, the boy that cried wolf, right? When you're really telling the truth, they're not going to believe you. I get so mad at comics when they go, no, true story. So you just discredited everything you said before that. When you walk on stage, you've told 10 jokes, then you tell another joke and go, no, man, true story. Man, that's a true. Well, what are you telling me? That everything else was false and made up? So 100% being genuine, being real, being honest, and straightforward with my audience. You know, anybody that comes to my show, they absolutely know I love my wife. They absolutely know that the stories I'm telling are real and true, and they absolutely trust me. And that's what makes real fans. right? These are people that are going to stick with me. When I've had people come up to me and go, "Oh my God, I've been watching you since I was single, and then you got a girlfriend, and then I got a girlfriend, and then you got engaged, and I got engaged, and then you got married, and I got married, and then you had kids." That's how long people have stayed with me. They want to continue the saga with me because it is real, it is genuine, and it makes a real connection.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve. This is Matt Grimes. I'm a senior here at Bentley. One of the things I wanted to talk to you about is when you were 19 and you first stepped on that stage to do your routine, did you ever think that you would touch like veterans, all these people in your crowd, and provide for your family?
No, I was just trying to get girls. I was trying to be funny, and I was trying to meet all the girls after the show, and I was trying to get free drinks, and um, I was just doing something that I had passion for, and I loved it. But there was no motive behind it other than, gosh, I love being on stage, and afterwards, I hope I get a girl out of it, and I hope I get a free beer out of it. And man, how cool is this? And here I am all these years later, and I'm like, wow, all these things that it has provided, and all these things that I'm able to do because of this career. And it's changed over time. When I met my girlfriend, who became my wife, when my kids came, when I actually got old enough to want a nice home and a nice car. And so it has gradually grown and changed. But yeah, I mean, probably not in a million years I would tell you that my goal, I didn't get in it going, gosh, man, one day I'm going to change all these lives, and I'm going to raise money for veterans, and man, I'm going to do all these great things. I'd be lying to you if I said that. I mean, I went on stage because I wanted to be a comedian, and I was hoping to get a couple girls out of it and a beer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
We got about 10 minutes left. We got a line of people, so we're going to do a little bit of a rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
All right.
Hi, Steve. I'm Brayden. I'm a management major, and you kind of touched on the fear of public speaking a little bit earlier. So I'd say, how do you use your experience to help others overcome their fears, or do you have any tips or strategies?
Tips or strategies, do it over and over and over again. Overcome your fears by doing it over and over again.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve, I'm Damon Alexander. I'm a sales and finance major here at Bentley, and I was just wondering how you feel the team, like your agents, managers, wherever that may be.
I sell them the dream. I sell them the dream. I go in there enthusiastic. I make them want me to succeed. I sell the dream. From the social media company that I own, to the 3 car dealerships that I own, to the real estate company that I run, to the Rao Western Wear apparel that I run. I sell the dream. Get them behind me. Get them to believe. Get them to want to be with me.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve, I'm Brad Borzangi. I'm a finance major here at Bentley. My question was, quickly, what are some strategies you use to sell yourself in such a competitive industry like comedy or sales?
Setting myself apart, being different, being myself, making sure that I am unique to my brand. And I also don't watch any stand-up, and I don't watch what other comedians are doing, because I want to make sure that I'm not being influenced and that I'm being 100% myself. And that's how I separate myself, is that you'll never see me on a Joe Rogan podcast, because I don't want to be those guys. I want to be the married guy that cut the yard today.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name's Jake Steves. I'm a management major here at Bentley. And I was just wondering, from a marketing perspective, how do you sell yourself outside of your shows to people who may have already been at one of your shows and want to come back again?
After the show, I shake every hand. I shake every single hand. I take every single picture that people want to take, because the way I look at it is the minute I walk out my door at my house, it is time to work. And, today, coaching soccer with my daughter, it's the first practice. 2 of the parents came up to me and talked to me for an hour. And I sat there and I talked to them for the whole hour, because they deserve that. And I want them to walk away and go, I will spend $30 to go see that guy perform. He's such a genuine, nice guy. So I give him my time.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, Steve, my name's Luke. I'm a senior studying sales. And earlier you had said that meeting your wife was a very pivotal moment in your career. I'm curious, like, what does the foundation of that relationship look like?
Well, we have a beautiful relationship because it's based on humor, it's based on trust, and we're on the same team. We have the same goals. I think a lot of times people get into a relationship because, ooh, she's pretty or he's good looking or, we party well together. We just mesh well together because we like making each other laugh and we have the same goals in life and we have the same morals and want to raise our kids a certain way. And we just align. And there are things that sometimes we miss, but we're able to have a real conversation and meet in the middle and align again. So we're negotiable.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Sydney. I am a senior marketing major here. My question is, how do you know when to give up on a joke if it's not working, as opposed to modifying it to get it to work?
When I've extended every option, when I feel that I've tried everything, I believed in it, I tried every option, and the crazy part is, sometimes I put it in what I call the treasure chest. I put it in the treasure chest. 2 years later, I'll go, man, I figured it out. And then I'll come back to it. And then I'll give up on it. And then a year later, I'll come back to it. And I just keep doing that until finally it just disappears.
Great, thank you.
Hi, Steve. I'm Joe DiGiovanni. I'm a junior professional sales major. My question is, you built a personal brand, which has led you to great success. So how did you develop your brand and what advice would you give to someone trying to build a brand in a competitive field?
Oh man, that's a good question. It came over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It was, oh, I love this girl that I'm dating. Let me talk about it. Oh man, let's move in that direction. Let's move in this direction. And it takes a very long time to really define a brand. And I think sometimes the biggest mistake I will tell you is that you want it to happen overnight. It will not happen overnight. I am a 18-year overnight success. So I think that's the thing, is to continue to fine tune over time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Hey, Steve, thank you for being here. My name is Jack LaRochelle. I'm a senior marketing major here at Bentley. My question for you tonight is, what is the key difference for you between engaging an individual versus engaging a large group of people?
There's no difference. It's exactly the same. It is treating the crowd like you're treating an individual. It is caring about that crowd, just like I said earlier, and wanting to get to know that crowd just like you would want to get to know a single individual. Now, the only difference is that I am looking in different directions in the audience, where the audience actually thinks, everybody in the audience goes, oh my God, he stared right at me. Well, I'm actually staring at a group, but because my eye contact is strong, I'm engaging like they're one-on-one with me, because I'm that aggressive with my confidence and my eye contact that an entire group, each one of them thinks I'm talking to them individually. And it's the same with an individual. So there is no difference.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve.
Hello, Steve. I'm Ignacio from Nicaragua. Who would you say has been your biggest comedian inspiration?
Oh, for a comedian, gosh, that's tough. Early on, Eddie Murphy. Later on in my life, George Lopez. He turned out to be a terrible human being. So right now, Jeff Foxworthy. And the only reason being is because he has managed to have a beautiful career, not live in LA, raise his children, and stay married. So that's why he's become an inspiration to me.
Thank you.
Gracias, ¿no? Hablamos en español, la tercera, ¿no?
Hey, feliz día de la independencia de México.
De mi mamá de Sabinas Hidalgo, gracias, ¿no?
Sí.
Placer.
Hi, Steve. I'm Stacia Zogby. I'm a junior marketing major, and my question for you is, if your younger self was in front of you right now, what would you say to him?
Oh gosh, I would tell him not to do comedy. If I knew that the chances of a Mexican American making it in this business were literally slim to zero, I would have told him don't do it. But that's the beautiful part about being young. Ignorance is bliss. Go out there with an attitude, with confidence, and outwork everybody, because it doesn't matter. Just work your butt off. But Yeah, I would have told the younger me, hey man, maybe comedy's not the way to go. But I do believe that I would have been successful, highly successful in anything that I would have chosen.
Thank you.
Hey Steve, my name is McGovern. I'm a finance major and senior here at Bentley. Over the past couple of weeks, we've talked a lot about building lasting relationships. So my question for you is, what is one crucial relationship that you have in your life besides your wife that has contributed to your success?
My dad, my dad has always drilled in me hard work. My dad has always drilled in me that nobody's going to give you anything, that nothing is free, that you got to wake up every day and you got to go get it. If it wasn't for him teaching me the hard work, when I was on a roof at 12 years old, that's when my dad put me to work. I was 12, and I would be on a roof, and my friends would drive by and laugh at me, and my dad would say, "You're going to be laughing at them. You're going to laugh at them, son. Don't worry. Work like this, and you will be laughing at them." And here we are, all these years later. I would never laugh at them, but my dad was correct that I am living a better life than they are because of hard work. So my father.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for taking the time. My name's Alex Barton. I'm a finance major here at Bentley. My question is kind of, as you've gained popularity throughout the years, how have you dealt with this fame? Has it kind of added another sense of kind of more pressure as you go to all these shows?
Fame is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I wanted to be a comedian. I didn't want to be famous. It is something to deal with, and it's very, very difficult. I have to always watch what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. You will not find me in a bar. You will not find a picture of me in a bar, because everybody has a camera and everybody's, looking to. So I've learned to keep to myself. After my shows, I have drinks or a drink or two in the back of the room, and then I go home. So it has really changed my life in a lot of ways. I took my son to Morgan Wallen, and my poor son, it was supposed to be a father-son deal. And I literally took pictures the entire time. And to see my son roll his eyes and be very upset and frustrated that I didn't get to spend time with him, that I spent time with everybody around me, was hard. But it's something that comes with the territory. And the way I deal with it is I spend my time with my son as much as possible. And I let him know all the time in my family that they are the most important thing to me. And I find those times to be with them. And now I live on 12 acres and I have a barn out there and I have a swimming pool here and I have everything I need so that when I want to be with my family, I can be. And it's right here at my house.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Jason. I study sales and psychology here. I just want to know what mental strategies or shifts occur when you have a crowd that doesn't react the way that you prepared for. Like, how do you read that room?
I'm lucky. I don't deal with that. 90% of the people there are there to see me. They're there to see my brand, and they're there to see exactly what I'm doing. So that kind of goes back to sales. If you know what you're selling and you're selling to the right person, you're not going to have that issue. Early on, it was just my tenacity and my aggression and my confidence that I was going to win that would win them over. But nowadays, 90 to 95% of the people at my shows are there to see me, so I don't have to overcome that.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Jackson. I'm a finance major. I was just wondering what's been your favorite show and why?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Golly, that's a tough one. I love when my family's there. I recently did a show in Portland, Texas, where I grew up, where we were raising money to build a VFW hall, and that's probably been my favorite show in many, many years because we raised $95,000 and we're going to build the VFW hall. But it was one of those deals in that convention center or barn, basically, in Portland, Texas. I went to so many weddings and so many dances, and as a kid, I never thought in a million years that I'd be in that same room performing in front of the whole town to raise money for Veterans Hall. So that's probably my favorite.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, Steve. I'm JJ, and I'm a senior here at Bentley studying sales. And my question is to you, as a comedian who successfully navigated the entertainment industry and created your persona of America's favorite husband, how do you differentiate yourself so well in such a competitive space?
Well, that was the kind of a question from earlier. It's being myself. People know that I mean I live a very normal life. I mean that's why I left LA. My neighbor over there, he's a detective. His wife's a what are they, the esthetician. My neighbor over here owns 3-4 dealerships. I'm not around any celebrities. I'm not around any Hollywood people, and that's how I'm able to continue to develop my brand as a very relatable brand. I just make sure I stay relatable.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Lucia and I'm from Panama. I just wanted to ask you, how do you build rapport quickly with your audience to start the show?
I welcome them. I tell them thank you. I tell them that we need to give a round of applause to the men and women who are working. And I take my time and I get to know them and I tell them thank you and I appreciate them for being there. And I think that people love being appreciated. And there's two kinds of entertainers. There's the entertainers that feel lucky to be on stage and lucky that people came out to see them. And then there's the entertainers that feel like the audience is the lucky one. And those are the entertainers that don't continue to succeed. I am the entertainer that feels so lucky and blessed that people came to see me. So I think my appreciation for them comes very, very clear.
Thank you.
You lasted through the gauntlet.
That was awesome.
You did it. On behalf of the class, I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you. Thank you very much for popping in here tonight. I know